Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the RPT Annual Town Hall. My name is Dan Green. I'm the Director of IT for the Department of Electrical Engineering and the Wolftech IT Group. With me here today is David. David Sterling is the primary programmer for the RPT Online system. And also in the back, Charles is recording us for Prosperity. Quick question, how many of you are new to RPT? I recognize a number of faces, but we do have quite a few. All right. How many liaisons do we have here? Department heads? We always have a few. Neither. Candidate? You're just here. Okay, well, IW liaison. Yeah. So we're here to talk about the RPT system. We'll go through it in its entirety. Just something to note that what you will be seeing is not quite live yet. Everyone that's a liaison department head, you've got access to the system, rptonline.ncsu.edu. A lot of what we're going to be going over will be going live in the next week or two. I say that because otherwise poor David here will be fired. There are three major changes this year that we want to show you. The major one is we've added in a breakdown of Section 1. So now Section 1A, B, and C, I believe, are all separate uploads. This was one of the requests we had. Try and make that a little easier. And with that, that will also include page restrictions as well. And the section headers. That was also a big request. You're going to see a change to the faculty list. We're going to be asking everyone to enter in all their faculty, not just their DVF. There's a reason for this that we'll explain later. And finally, we now have permission groups. You do not just have one committee anymore. We'll be able to have multiple committees. The idea being is that you'll be able to have committees for certain candidates, or you'll be able to set up permission for people that might be cross-departmental or non-tenure track. All this will be able to be handled with discrete permission groups, so the only people that should see a candidate sees the candidate. Basically, it will give you all the granularity that we haven't had so far. And the reason we are adding all this in is because this is all a precursor for the fact that we will be adding in the SMEs into this system, and we will be handling post-tenure review as well. That will be being worked on. After the 2 weeks is over and we go live, that's what he switches to. That's why we've been revamping the permission system, to be able to handle all these additional processes we'll be adding into the online system. So we're going to just quickly begin with the help section. So before you log in, help is there, and after you log in, it is still there. The main thing to note here is that we have the FAQs. So pretty much every question we can think of you asking is going to be documented here. If you ask us a question we don't have, we'll add it. Here you'll also find the list of contacts. If it's not obvious, obviously click on the question and you'll see the answer. But on the support contacts, you'll have all of your liaisons listed at the college level and at each department. This is something that's available for anyone, particularly your candidates, to be able to see this. Now, of course, we're on the beta system, so you don't see your names here. You would if we were on the live one. And then finally, you've also got the instructional videos, which probably are also, no, they're there, where you'll see videos that David has put together on how to use different parts of the system, how to correctly upload documents, etc. You'll also have the provost videos that are created about the RPT process. Every time they mail out a new video, we make sure to add it here. And then you'll also have, well, this talk today. That's last year's talk. This year's talk will be right next to it in case you forgot something or you're one of the many people who said, I can't come today. And we will have that video there. Besides the help, let's go ahead and log in as a liaison if you would. Or department head, same thing. Ignore that little subpage, it's just because we haven't gone live yet. So when you log in, few changes, not that many. The main thing is you still have your reviews, although we used to call it candidates, we're going to call it reviews now. The reason being is that it will have all your RPT reviews, but then as we add in the PTR system, it will also show those. And if you have anything else, it will list in the one page. Besides the reviews, you'll have a list of your faculty. That's what we had before. So one of the key things as a liaison is make sure you go in and check to make sure that all your faculty are listed. We've done one slight change. We're no longer asking you to tell us are they associate DVF or are they full DVF. We just want to know their rank. We can automatically figure out which they are based on that. So when you're adding a faculty member, you're just going in and adding in a name, Unity ID, or their employee ID. It will automatically come up, check the rank, hit add. Straightforward. We will be importing everything that you've got in the current system over, so that will be there, but do us a favor and go through and recheck. When we go live, we'll send an announcement out going, okay, we've just pushed the button, we're live, now go double check to make sure we copied over everything correctly. If you need to edit someone's rank, you can just click on them, and here you'll see all their information, edit rank, change the rank, save the rank. Pretty straightforward.
Do you want to show them this page? It doesn't really have anything right now, but...
Yeah, let's skip that. We've got more functionality we're adding in, but since we haven't gone live with those features, we'll come back to that. So anyway, that's just all the list of all your faculty will be there. As we said, most people have currently their DVF in there, so you'll want to go in and add in any other faculty as well. Settings. Under settings, I don't think anything has changed.
Settings.
And settings is still here. You can add any announcements that you want your users to see. You can click new announcement, type in a subject line, type in the message. Any of your users that log into the system will then be able to see that announcement that you've given. There you go. And then the other thing you'll be dealing with in settings is sample documents. So if your department has any sample documents, if your college has any sample documents that you like to provide, you can enter in a document, select the file to upload it, and then just hit save. And these documents will be presented on the candidate pages. Yes. When you log into each candidate, and we'll go through this more in detail, the sample documents will be listed as well. For the sample document is a unit-wide thing. So you're entering in a sample document. It's more of an instructional document. This is something that on every candidate will be listed as, here's an example document. When we get to the candidate page, we'll show you how you can upload documents specific for that candidate.
Is that required?
Not at all. Some departments have this, some and colleges have this. It's simply an option. And that's all there is in settings. Pretty straightforward. Permissions is where the big change is going to be. This is where you would have previously seen committees. There we go. Under permissions now, you're going to have a few major things that you're going to be looking at. One, you're going to start with your administrative users. So you're going to see your department head listed, and you're going to see your liaisons listed. No fuss, no muss there. It's pretty straightforward. Your permanent groups, these are going to be the associate voting faculty. These are going to be your full department faculty. These are things that we are pre-creating for you. As you add in faculty and put their ranks, you'll see the number of your members of each of these groups just automatically increasing. This is not something that you will have to worry about as long as your faculty list is accurate. These groups are important because this will determine who has access to what candidates.
Where are you getting the faculty? You said as long as the faculty is.
When you go into the faculty tab and you enter in your faculty at a department level, you will select, this is an associate professor, this is a full professor. So we are taking that information and pre-generating that permission group, because we know all the full professors are full DVF. Yes?
Now will automatically restrict an individual candidate from viewing.
Correct. So when you get to the point where you've got your faculty logging in to review their candidates, if they're an associate DVF, they don't see full professors, or people going up for full professorship, etc. So it's the same thing we've had in the past. We're just simply filling that information out for you. Previously, you would have gone in and said, this is a person, this is one of our faculty, and they're in the associate DVF. Or this is a person, they're in full DVF. We are figuring that part out for you. We just need to know their current rank.
If they are both a member of the DVF and also going up for review, is it correct that they do not have the ability to view their own profile?
Yes, candidates never get to see their own stuff.
They do. Limited, though.
This is true. They have limited access to their, and we'll go over that. There are certain things candidates cannot see about themselves, external reviewers being one of them, but we take care of that.
And this might be something you'll get to later, but is there a permission or the ability to take off a permission where there's a conflict of interest, say there's...
Funny you mentioned that. Let's scroll down to conflicts. So we have a new permission now that we're entering in. Specifically, this is relationship conflicts. So you are married to this other person, and therefore you should never see anything to do with them. You are the son of, whatever that might be, from a relationship conflict. We allow you to pre-enter that in now. And so that way, that person will never see that candidate. So that conflict is entered into the system and will be automatically resolved. They will not see them. They will not show up as eligible either. There is a later type of conflict that folks that choose to say, I'm not voting because I feel I have a conflict. That's a separate thing. This is purely the relationship conflict that means they're not even eligible. So you create the relationship and then we go ahead and track that. Siblings, yeah, I didn't even think about that one for some reason. So we are tracking that now. So that's another new addition we've got with the permission system. You're welcome. And then the final thing, so as I said, we've got the liaisons list. You've always been going in, adding in who your liaison is, your department head, the associate and full DVF, the conflicts. Then we have custom groups. These are where you get to decide who, besides your DVF, need access to particular candidates. Now, this is intended to handle non-tenure track, to handle interdisciplinary candidates. For those of you who have had interdisciplinary, you know we've had to do some weird pretzeling of we're going to create a new unit for you that's half and half and just have the candidate there. That's gone. All you have to do is create a custom group, call it whatever you like it to be. Special, there you go. You're going to determine two things: what type of access they have and who this group is going to be looking at. Specifically with the types. In the RPT system, you're going to have some folks that have access to view the candidate information immediately. Generally, these are departmental committees that are going through all the candidates. This is before we get to the DVF voting. A lot of departments have these. And so those folks need immediate access. So for those, you just simply click immediate. It means that the moment they're in that group and the moment you've got candidates in the system, they can see the information just like you can as a liaison. Or you've got limited. When you get to a certain point in the candidate stage, you've got all their documentation. They are now ready to be viewed by the DVF. You turn on the access for the DVF. At this point, you would also be able to turn on access for these limited groups. So this would be useful for in the case of a non-tenure track, where perhaps you have teaching associate professors who are not part of your DVF, but your department wants them to have access to view because your department head feels they want the input. Now you can create a custom group for those folks and say they have limited access, or they will get access turned on to view these candidates when we're ready, and they will have access to only particular ones. So in this case, you can either click restrict the group to a candidate, in which case you will get a list of all your candidates, and you will simply say this one, this one, this one. These folks can see these people when we turn on the access. Or you can do it based upon proposed actions. So I want to allow it for anyone going from teaching assistant professor to a teaching associate professor, regardless of which candidate is. You had to find that one, didn't you? Yeah. And so you can go in and then make these selections. This should give you, we feel, let us know if we're wrong, the granularity you're going to need to handle most of the weird cases that we've had presented to us, and all the non-tenure track, the interdisciplinary, etc. If people come up with scenarios that this doesn't give enough granularity for, let us know. Finally, at the end, you add people to the group. So in this case, you're now adding in, these are the folks that get to be in this group. And you can enter in the same way you could on the faculty list, name, unit ID, and employee ID. This does not have to be only your employees. So if it's the case where it's an interdisciplinary position, you can enter in the faculty member in the other college who is supposed to have access to view this candidate and add them here. They won't have access to any of your other candidates, but they'll still be able to see these particular candidates that you've given them access to. Yes?
Just want to make sure I'm clear. This is for if you have a non-tenure, like I had a non-tenure track going up for promotion. I create a group so whoever needed to see it here could see it. But would you add the non-tenure track faculty to the all faculty list you're talking about?
You will, not for this reason, but because we're going to be adding in the SME system, we're going to be adding in the post-tenure review, well, that's more for the SMEs. So that's why I say on the faculty, eventually, yes, you want to have all your people listed there. For the immediate RPT cycle, not necessary. But as we roll in the SME process, then yeah, that'll be how you're managing it for those as well as your tenure track. Yes?
Would that be like, when you say interdisciplinary, that'd be like for cluster hire?
For example, yes. If your cluster hire requires that folks outside of your department be able to see the information about your candidate, then yes, you would have the ability to go in and give them that access. Then you hit create group. The system breaks. No.
Maybe it did break.
Demo system, going live in a couple weeks.
Oh, it made it anyway.
There you go. And so you'll then see it. Yeah, it made it without anyone actually being in there, but go back. So, under the permissions page, just as a review, you've got your primary contacts, your department heads, your liaisons. You're going to have your permanent groups, your full DVF, associate DVF. You're going to have your custom groups, like we've discussed. And you're going to have your conflicts. These will all be listed on that one page. Any questions? It's a lot of stuff, but it's actually not that difficult. Once you start entering in, it'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The other key thing is that when you have created these custom groups, you'll be able to click on them and see which candidates they're affecting. You'll be able to see who's in those groups. We will make it as obvious as possible. You'll be able to see who are all your, when you click on the associate, the permanent group for associate, you'll see everyone that's listed in there. You'll see all the candidates that they're able to view. We're going to make this as obvious as possible. So you do not have to think who can see this candidate, who cannot. We're going to make that obvious. Just because we know as we add in more options for you, there might be the concern that, oh, wait, did I just do something that lets so-and-so see this? You can see all that. And that is pretty much the new permission system. So besides that, once you've given everyone the access that they need to have, you actually have to go through a candidate review. And that hasn't changed all that much. And I'm going to let David walk us through that. And of course, interrupt him every 5 minutes.
Okay, so I have just loaded up some candidates here. This top portion right here corresponds to the fields on the cover form, and you can access that over here. You probably won't need to look at that too much, but you'll want to make sure that the dates in here and all the information in here is on correct before you request any signatures, because backing out those signatures is difficult. So it's possible, but you'd have to send in a request and I'd have to delete it. So one thing you can do is you can add the administrative appointments if they are like DGP or department head or whatever their rank is, and save that. That'll also attach to the cover form. So these are, when we set up the announcements in the settings, this is where they will show up. They show up on every page, so you probably don't want to put any personal notes in there, but if there's important dates or important instructions that you need your unit to see, that's a good place to put them. Also, these sample documents, they're more for if you have templates or something or guidelines that you need for everyone to look at, and you can add some instructions to there as well. And then the reference documents, those are the ones that are individual to the candidate. So if you have specific documents to your department, you can include those there, and they don't, you can have them get passed up to the college if you want, but they don't have to be.
And a lot of times these are going to be the documents that you're entering in as they're flowing in. You haven't quite built the actual dossier yet, but you want to make sure that this particular, oh God, what's a good example? Someone has a few papers that they want to have seen. Those are the sort of reference documents. They won't make it to the final RPT official paperwork, but the reviewing, they want to make sure the reviewers see that.
Is there still a size limit on the documents?
Yes, they have to be over 10-point font.
No.
Overall.
Oh, the size limit.
For reference documents, is it still below 10 megs?
It's like below 16 megabytes.
Okay.
So, yeah, generally we don't run into problems with that, but if you do, then we can work around that as well. So the individual dossier section on here doesn't look split up, but I have it split up on the other version. So basically you'll see, instead of one upload button, you'll see 4. Sections 2 through 6 will still be as one, and so you'll have to label the headers on those sections, but the first 3 sections, the headers will be automatic, and I'll also include that information there, and they will also be restricted to 2 pages each. Okay, so
Just to clarify, section 1A, 1B, 1C will be restricted to 2 pages. We're not restricting section 2 through 6. I thought a few people frowned. Unfortunately, we cannot break up 2 through 6 just yet. There's a lot of stuff still in there. We're looking at what options we might have, but for now, you will still need to upload that as a single document and just make sure that you've got your headers correctly within that document.
okay, so once that's all uploaded, the cover form says that the candidate must review those sections before they sign the cover form. So this is where this request candidate's signature comes in, and obviously this is a reminder just to view the cover form beforehand and make sure it looks right, and then you can go ahead and request that, and that will send out an email, and I'll show you an example of that. It looks like this. It just tells you, please read over the cover form, read over the documents, and if you agree with it, then you're prepared to sign. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like for the candidate quickly. Oh. Did I actually request it?
The demo gods are not with us.
Yeah, they're not.
By the way, ignore this little section here. That's just the back end for the demo system. You will never see this.
Oh. Oh, right. I was supposed to do it on Charles's. I'll just do this quick. So,
Okay.
when the candidate logs in, they'll be able to see this document. They can't change it or anything. They'll also be able to see the sample documents. And then they just click this button.
For those of you who have been here before, nothing's changed. The only thing that we've changed is simply the breakout of the section 8, 1A, 1B, 1C. Everything else will be the same. Candidates come in and sign as they always do. Click finish. And the candidate's done at that point,
Yeah.
at least for a while.
Okay. So I'll go back into here as liaison. The rest of these, this section where it says not applicable.
Just a quick point.
Yeah.
Once they have signed it, when you log in, you will see that you've got a little green button that basically says candidate has signed. And you should have a date listed there, which we will fix. That will show you when it was that they signed it.
The external evaluations, obviously for reappointments, those are not required. Previously, I had this not applicable section, but that'll all be taken care of dependent on the action now, so you don't have to worry about clicking this button to generate that blank page for that section. But if they did have evaluators, you would obviously upload the sample letter first that you sent them, record what materials you sent to them, SME, and then you will go ahead and add in each external evaluator. You don't have to upload the letter right away. You can just add these now.
And for those of you that have already been starting on the evaluator, but you don't yet have section 1 through 6 done, you don't have to do it in this order. The moment you start using the system, you can be entering in all your evaluators as they get decided on and entered. And one key thing there with adding the evaluator that we want to make sure we point out is that you do need to make sure to indicate who suggested that evaluator. We do capture that information. Proposed by. And then once you have the letter, you can add that in as David just did. Rinse and repeat for all 20 of your evaluators.
Where do we put the bios? You got bios?
Yes, yeah, in fact, when you edit, the bio is just a text box. The bio is a text box. You'd cut and paste it in there. Yeah. And as we have before, once you fill in all the evaluator information, we automatically create that section for you. Putting them in the correct order, filling it all out, and then putting the letters in the order they're supposed to be. So all you have to do for the evaluation is fill in these fields, upload the letter, and that's it. We take care of creating that section.
Okay, so once you're done and you think you're ready to start your faculty review here, it was just only for the DVF, and it would sort out which DVF group applied. In the new system, you will have more than one switch. For every group that you'll have an individual switch. So you can choose to start review periods at different times for different faculty groups if you want to, or you can choose to do it all at once.
Just to note that this will be, so the groups that you will see listed will be the standard DVF groups that you've always had, but then any custom group that you had selected limited access. If you don't use custom groups at all, then you'll just see the DVF.
Okay, so you can choose how you want to notify the DVF because it will send them all an email. It has a generic email, or you can add special instructions if you want to. Or you can, if you accidentally switch that, you can decline to notify them. So under here, you'll see like when it started and that an email was sent out. And to give you an idea, just says that the review period has been turned on. Here's the candidates page. You can now look at it. So once they've all decided, they'll make their assessment. You can upload the assessment. And you don't have to turn off the faculty reviews because at this point they should be able to view the dossier, but if it's special groups and you do want them turned off, then you will have to turn those off.
In faculty view, when it's just a reference, I have people looking to get in and the names weren't populated. Because like I had to turn it on, and of course I can't turn it on until after I get the candidate's signature. But we wanted to get some stuff up there even before the dossier so that the faculty could start looking at their publications and whatnot and their reference documents.
Generally, when a department has, we've had the idea of the committee, the departmental committee, and that was one of the immediate access groups in the new parlance. There's no reason why you couldn't create that. And for those folks that you wanted to have immediate access, create a custom group, give them immediate access, decide who they can get access to and who's in that group, and they will have that straight away. Most groups will use that for a small number that are dealing with the review process before the full DVF go in. If your department wants to have that be much wider, you would be able to use the system in that way.
So once they've voted, you record the votes. This doesn't do the math for you, so we got to make sure they all add up. I believe recused, do they count as eligible? I'm not sure.
Everyone at this point was eligible.
Eligible,
yes.
okay.
These aren't counting the relative conflicts. But I would say sounds like something we need to add a bit more information there.
Yeah. So once those are in, they'll be saved there. You can go back and change them if you need to. And then select the department head's recommendation, upload their document, and then you're ready to start the candidate response period. It's mandatory 5 business days, so once you start it, you can't really stop it.
And we need to re-emphasize that. Once you start it, you must have it open 5 days. So if your college has a requirement that you are due to get all this stuff done by this day, you have to make sure you've gotten to this point at least 5 days out ahead of that. The candidate can come to you and say, you know what, I've looked at it, I'm good, let's move on. We don't care. They have to have those 5 days because they might change their mind. But that is hard-coded in the system. That is something that the provost's office wants. Whether they want it or not, the candidate gets 5 days. So just keep that in mind when you are planning out how the timing of your department submissions up to the college is going to go. Yes?
5 days, 5.5 days.
It's 5 business days.
5 business days.
Does it end noon 5 days from now, or does it end at 5 p.m.?
Exactly when it started is exactly the time that it will end. So you see right here
Click
it
it at noon,
says
it ends at noon.
3:07 on September 1st.
Yeah. And you'll see exactly.
And it gives you an
when it's gonna
approximation too, because it's actually 6 days, but it's 5 business days. So
Yeah.
It is business days.
It is business
Yes.
days.
it doesn't count. And also when the holidays come into, we add those in there. So if you turn it on, it will account for, so if you're planning and it's December time, you want to make sure that you give 5 business days, or else you might be into January and pushing up against deadlines.
Yeah, or if you turn this on right before the Christmas break, technically that's not a, they got a really long time to review at that point.
Okay, so
So the candidate would, once again, they get an email saying, hey, the review's now open. They'd go in, they review it, they sign it, the same way they did when they were acknowledging the first few sections being correct.
request this, oh, we've not completed the period. So it won't let you request the department head's signature until that's done.
Well, we can pretend it's done.
We can
Don't need to
pretend
go through
it's
it.
done. Okay.
So-
Well, we can't even send it to the college at this point either, because none of those will be accepted.
So the candidate period ends. Once that's unlocked, once that period is over, you can now send it to your dean for signature, sorry, your department head for signature, or if you're at the college level, for your dean. Something to keep in mind, the dean or the department head will not be notified that they need to come and sign anything until you've sent it to them for signature. So this is still an action that you have to perform at your side. Don't worry about it, David. Don't worry about it.
Can
Just
end
go
it.
back. So you can now, so once you can do that, you send it to the department head. The department head would go log in, they'd sign it. David, we don't need to.
We don't need to show that?
No.
Okay.
Let's go back. Department head goes in, they sign it the same way as the candidate does. And then you've got all your signatures. Your cover letter is complete. You now need to send it up to the college. Before you do so, do a quick view of the dossier, make sure everything looks correct, and then click send to college. In this case, College of Engineering.
So
As a departmental liaison, that is all you need to do. It's now up. It's up at the college level. It's theirs to deal with. Sorry.
So it doesn't automatically go from the department head to the college either.
No.
The college
At this point, you are still pushing the button to move it along. I believe that was actually a question of whether or not we just skipped that step, because once the department head signs it, what more is there? But we haven't done that just yet. So at each stage, the liaison moves it to the next stage.
Well, the thing is, once you pass it up, you won't be able to make any changes to the documents. You shouldn't be
Thank you.
making any changes anyways, because they've signed it. But if there's, for some reason, there always is some type of correction, you'd have to request that section be unlocked by the college. And so they only unlock certain sections of the dossier for you to edit.
So they can alter the dossier until it's on it?
The candidates
The
can't
liaison
touch.
can.
Yeah, the liaison has control of the system. The candidates can't go in and make any changes. We've talked about giving candidates the ability to do uploads themselves, but there's been questions about that. So for now, they're still sending the documents to you, you're uploading them.
And we
Yes.
do record every time that it's also changed.
Does the liaison get notifications from the system each time something's happening?
Yes.
So you'll get notes saying your department head has signed it.
You're copied on most all emails.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's a good point. On pretty much all the emails that he was showing you that get sent out, you're getting CC'd on them as well. It's just one more way of you knowing that they got the email. Any questions? Yes.
So for section 1A, 1B, 1C, those are uploaded in maximum 2-page documents. Are we asking candidates not to put titles on 1A, and not to put the section headers on?
Yeah, we don't want section headers on those.
That would be something that you would need to tell them. But yes, we are automatically taking care of that for you. So they won't need to do that. We're not, and that's something to say, that we are not directly talking to your candidates about anything. But yes, now that those sections are being automatically checked for page count and are automatically going to have the titles added in, that would be part of your updated communications to them, that you need them sent to you separately, that these page limits are being enforced now, so make sure they don't send you a 3-page document. And that they don't need to worry about the section header. And for the most part, from what I understand, they weren't worrying about the section header anyway. Most of you were having to go in and do that. So half of you would be like, well, they weren't doing it anyway, so I don't have to tell them about it. But what you tell them is going to be up to you, and how best to phrase it.
They will be becoming separate documents now from the candidates, not.
Correct.
We have to bust them out. So.
Yeah, or exactly, or you bust it out yourself, yeah.
So I've already uploaded some stuff.
Okay?
Do I need to go back and redo all this?
No. When we switch over to the slightly newer system, everything's migrated. So no, you shouldn't see any.
It has the headings on it and everything. Is it now going to have 2 headings on it? Because what's in there
Oh,
is
sorry, I
headings.
take that back. If you've already uploaded 1 through 6, yeah.
You'll be able to get around it this time.
We are hoping to roll this a little sooner, but we've slammed up against the wall. So for you early folks who have already gone in and done it, we will work with you directly to make sure that we sort this out.
So I've only done for 2. You asked me if I can not do it.
No, I don't want you. I don't want you to not do anything. Go ahead and do it. As part of our migration, frankly, if we have to, we'll just go and slice and dice a few of them out for you. Yes.
Last year, you guys had pasted over page numbers if people had entered page numbers in those documents.
The page numbers are
Continue to
still there.
overwrite the page numbers.
Big page numbers, big red, right in the middle of the page at the bottom. Yep, that's still there. That has not changed at all. And sorry, I forgot to even mention it. Yeah, do not put page numbers. Don't worry about correcting page numbers. Just don't worry about page numbers, period. It's very obvious what the official page numbers are. Yes?
This might be a little off topic, but last year there was a couple candidates that wanted to upload their own stuff in that. Will they still have that ability this year, and I just have to walk them through how to correctly do it if they want to do that? Or should the department build these liaisons be accepting the sections and uploading it?
They don't have any access to upload any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing I heard last year, that supposedly they could upload parts of it.
They could only upload their candidate response, but apart from that, no.
And yeah, and that hasn't happened. They can still upload a response, but they cannot directly upload the dossier yet. That, like you said, is something that we have had requests for. We gotta, keep you guys wanting and him in a job. So that'll be next time. We do talk to the provost's office quite a bit about the new additions, and so we're just prioritizing the major things, and then any of these smaller things, as long as they're okay with it, we add it in. So keep those requests coming in. And it never hurts to specifically send us a request. At the bottom of the system is our email, RPT Online at ncsu.edu. Submit your request there, and they get officially logged into the "this is what your users want" list. And we make sure to talk to the provost's office about adding that in. Yes?
Okay, I'm still a little unclear on this. So the parts 1 through 6, the candidates do not put the Roman numerals on each one of the parts? Your system is now going to do that?
Only for section 1.
1 through 6 is now 4 documents. 1A, 1B, 1C. And then 2 through 6. You handle 2 through 6 the same way you've been handling it. For the first 3 sections, we're going to deal with the correct headers. We deal with page numbers across the board.
Right.
But what we've done is we've been asked to slowly start breaking out 1 through 6. And those
I
would,
mean what 1A, B, and C are. 1 CS and A.
right,
Can't remember.
which we're going to be handling because we're going to be we're going to be doing all the SMEs within the system eventually. So that's being broken out for one section. I forget for the life of me what the other 2 are. Thank you. The resume. These were things that traditionally weren't respecting the page limit. It was one of the reasons, and it was also a very discrete thing. And so that's why we've broken them out first. Over time, we'd like to try and break out some of the rest as we figure out ways to try and make life a little easier. Those were the easy targets.
that, last year we did have you did headers on some, not on the others, like the optional statements, and then the department's, head's assessment, and the dean's assessment. Has all that been rectified to where those headers are there now?
They should be on any one that you're uploading that's not more than one section. It should have the header on it. But I'll explicitly put in the application, this section has a header, this section doesn't.
Okay.
Because that was a big question that I would get.
Because of last year it was some did, some didn't.
Mhm.
Yeah. The next to each upload button will be an indication of whether or not you need to worry about section headers or if we're doing it for you. And wherever we can do those section headers, we're trying to. And yes, I'm furiously making sure that what I'm saying is actually true. Any other questions / dear God, why haven't you fixed this yet? Yes?
Do you foresee this then becoming accessible by the external evaluators?
I would love that. Long term, that is my goal. However, there are a few hoops and things that we need to go through at the provost's office. But yes, long term, I would very much like it so that you upload the information into the system. We're already capturing what you're sending them. The document that you want to send them with the instructions, we ask you to upload. So why not then just send them an email with a link saying, come see it here. So yes, long term, we would very much like that. It's not in there now. Perhaps that will make next year.
Wouldn't that be a problem since they're not supposed to be making a recommendation for or against tenure, promotion, that sort of thing? That's what the template says external reviewers are not to do.
No, but the letter, there's no reason why they couldn't be asked to upload their letter instead of you guys having to deal with it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
No, just what your
I don't want
email.
to access the
Sure.
whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, no.
Okay.
No. It would just simply be that the system would take the step where you have to send out them an email saying blah 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 blah. Here's all the documents you need to review. Why have you sent out an email if we can just simply have the system do it? They log into a special URL that gives them just enough access to upload the documents, and then you don't have to worry about that. The goal being make more and more of this less your concern and let other people do the work.
This might be a little ambitious, but could it eventually have little reminders if they haven't uploaded, if they've agreed to do the external evaluation, and they haven't done it by 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
When we get to that point, nag messages can certainly be added in, yes. Or if nothing else, one, it could be automated. The other option could simply be you being able to push a button to send that nag.
At that point in time, you would need to have a very large file size availability for uploading their articles. Some faculty have a billion pages of articles that we have to share.
But this is,
With
okay,
external view.
right. True. If you're providing all that, you're talking about not the review itself from them. You're talking about what you're sending to them. Yes. Noted.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's great variation between disciplines and what gets produced. You know, I was.
Yeah, we've seen a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I spent the last few years on the university RPT, which I would not wish on my worst enemy, but I did it. Chris is on it now, so he's still having fun. But, you know, some departments just send the dossier and maybe, because again, there are some disciplines where a faculty member might produce 50, 60 articles.
Yeah.
So they send just a handful of the dossier. I'm in the humanities where books are quite in the realm. So I got a colleague who's never written an article, but we have a 400-page monologue. And we want the external reviewer to actually read the whole textbook and deal with it and write a letter. So we you know, people outside the humanities.
Sure.
it's like running on.
But even in the case where we haven't yet done the external evaluator part of the system that we're talking about, but it sounds like you have an immediate need right now for larger reference documents so that you don't have to send that around to your own people.
Yes, right now I'm just leaving copies of books around saying, come and read it. It would be wonderful if you would go to a central site and just read it.
Okay.
But you're right, you need a big honking file space.
We will figure it out.
Great, thank you.
Anything about the actual system versus the wish list?
Basically, what you're suggesting is that faculty can go in and review these when they're available, and then they can't vote yet, but that has to be recorded.
Yes. If you aren't having your faculty, if you're still printing out all your candidate stuff and saying, no, your faculty should be going in and actually doing all the information there. Unless you're in a case where apparently we don't upload books yet. But, you know, when we can upload book size stuff, then yes. You shouldn't need to ever have anything printed out for faculty to come see. They should just all be coming here to review the candidates. The idea of the reference documents is for those that have the committees that they want to do internal talking before it gets to the DVF. That's what they were being used for. Don't have a Google Drive where you're storing all your stuff. Store it in the system because you control who can see all the documents. Use the system for that.
So why is it not recording the vote for each faculty?
We used to have that built into the system. Before we went university-wide, we were asked to take that out. However, that has come up a few times recently, and the Provost's office has agreed to review that for next year. So we are going to be looking at potentially moving that there so you guys don't have to try and run around and track down the one faculty member who hasn't voted. They should just be able to do that electronically. So that is something that has come back up, and we will be reassessing for next year. Some of these larger items, such as the external evaluators, such as the online voting, had to take a back step because of the last-minute move to go electronic for the SMEs and for the post-tenure review system. So we're going to get that all sorted over the next 6 months and then come back and revisit the rest. Yes?
So in this system now, sections 2 through 6, they still have to add the title?
Yes. And I will say that is obviously a very important thing. We've got that, mostly because 5 of you have now asked the same question. Yes, you do need to put those in, but obviously we need to figure out something to make that a little easier. Yes?
You mentioned the dream of having the reminder letters in there for external reviewers.
Yes.
And so is there potential, two potential questions, is there potential to track that so that way when I say, hey, there's one missing, and that all the communication to remind that person to come.
Everything that you do in the system is dated and it is noted, and when we get to that point, yes, you would be able to see the email was sent to the evaluator on this date, and then you sent a follow-up on this date. That would all be there.
Perfect.
Yep.
The second hope
Let me ask real quick here. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in getting external evals semi-automated in here a bit more. Is that, yeah, seems to be as popular as, yeah, I'm thinking about the nodding. Okay. Sorry, second question. No, it's good to know what to focus on for next time.
Yes, because we have to track all that now.
Right.
So I would love that. Also, is there an opportunity for if sample dossiers that faculty has signed in writing that they're willing to share this with people coming behind them?
Yep.
Right now, it seems like there's that sample section that
That
we could post
would
that.
where we'd suggest to post that,
Right.
yes.
And is there talk of making this available if a faculty had said, yes, all assistant professors could take a look at it in terms of measuring for the future, I wouldn't mind that. And then we could open this up for assistants or for associates moving to full.
Right.
They all have access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the answer, just a thought.
Yeah. Do me a favor and send us an email about that. That feels like something I want to sort of flush out a bit more. Give me some examples of what you run into and how this would solve it and what you sort of have in mind, and let's talk about that and about adding something like that in. The end goal is always to make this as useful a system as possible. To get to the point where as much of the RPT process is being done in here and not random pieces of paper on your desk and or folders and or whatever else there might be. So if there are things that you are still having to do with paper, that there are still emails that you're having to send and track down, let us know about those, and those are things that we want to try and move into the system. Yes?
So once a faculty member, like if I upload their dossier,
Yep.
so that I can open
Yep.
I can still pull it back, right? And then we just need to have that cover letter signed again? No.
Once they have signed it, technically it's signed at that point. Can we undo the signature? Yes, that can be done. It's just not something that you'd contact us at that point. Now, when it gets up to, and that's one thing we didn't go over, is that once the department has uploaded this, it goes up to the college level. That's the part when you then get to spend the next 2 weeks because the college said, well, you forgot a period here, you forgot that here, you forgot this. We didn't like the font you chose, whatever it might be. There's always something wrong with the dossier that you send to the college. The college liaison has the option of basically sending it back to you. And so the college liaison clicks a few buttons and says, you know what, no, this needs more work. And they're going to select the sections that they don't like, that you need to work on. They're going to type in comments. And you're going to get an email, the liaison at the department level, and all of a sudden you're going to have access to change those sections again. And you'll get an email basically saying what they don't like. So then you'll go back into the system, you'll make the change, you'll re-upload it, and then it continues back on at the college level. So all of that should be happening between you and the system. The liaison doesn't have to email you directly, it's all being done through that and being captured. Yes?
It's probably not like that now, but if it's not, in the future, like instead of having to load the faculty names, can that not pull from PeopleSoft?
Yes.
Because that way, when they're promoted, then you wouldn't have to fix it the next year.
I have access to that information. We're baby stepping into that point. When you add in your faculty, we're going to start by simply suggesting, this is what we think their rank is, because I'm looking at that, and we want you to confirm. Next year, yes, we will probably just go ahead and fill that in. There are certain departments who have faculty sort of all over the place. EC, for example, I have faculty under 3 different OUCs because. And so the automatic loading has a few caveats to it that we need to figure out first. So that is an end goal. If nothing else, we want to have it so that at the bottom of your faculty list, we're going to have did you forget this person? Because we can look and see and be like, well, maybe they forgot this person. We're not going to, it'll still be their responsibility to say, no, this is our faculty, this isn't, for whatever reason. But if we can start putting little prompts like that, oh, you may have forgotten X, Y, and Z, that's sort of where we're heading right now.
So how does it work whenever you load an associate professor without tenure? They're not going to be part of the DBS.
They still get a faculty page. So this page starts to track everything about this particular faculty member. All of their reviews, past and present, will be on there, but they won't be accessible. So you'll know the details of the review, like specific dates, maybe the rank start and end dates.
But how does it eliminate them from being part of the DBS?
It doesn't add them to it when.
Associate professors. It won't add it to them. It won't add it to the DBS.
No, it won't add them to this. So we can do a quick demo of that, but
Member number 3 right there is ranked untenured associate.
Yeah, sorry, go back up. You just skipped over her question right there. Click back on rank again.
oh, this one?
No, just go back to add a member and click rank.
What?
Click there.
Click here.
Yes. There. When they're entering them in, they may have to make sure that they're selecting the correct rank. In the case of an untenured associate professor, they need to select that.
So the department liaison needs to make sure.
Right now, the faculty list and their current ranks is always been and is still the responsibility of the departmental liaison to enter them in correctly. We will eventually look at fixing some of that to try and be as automated as possible, but for now, that hasn't changed.
And especially for like first term and second term, there's hardly any way for us to tell what term they're on from the data that we have.
For the assistant professors.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but the way the actions work, yeah. So eventually, we'd like to tie it in a bit more closer to HR, but for now, it's still the department liaison's responsibility. And we'll look at starting off with suggestions, and then eventually we may work to the, don't even worry about it, just double check that we've got it right. But we can only add so many features in at once until I clone him. So we're focused on rolling the new permission system, the new stuff for the SMEs and the PTR, which I think most of you folks are going to end up being the contacts for that. So we'll probably have another one of these in 6 months to talk about all that. And then we'll go back and start adding some additional stuff in, hopefully external evaluators, hopefully the voting for next year, but then also anything we can do to tie into HR a bit closer.
Can you still advance the dossier if you do not upload section 1C? So that's the candidate's optional statement.
Yeah, you'll be able to. Any optional documents won't
Yes.
stop.
Can we start working on the faculty right away, or do we have to wait for it to be live?
We already have people who've been already doing this semester. Keep going now. We're going to roll the new system and we'll make adjustment and we'll make sure everything flows, but no, you can start using it now.
This is going to be live for the current RPT cycle.
Correct. The new permissions will be live for this cycle, yes. Just give us a week or two. And the current system, like I said, works the way it always has. So we had hoped to walk in here and basically be like, it's live, but you know, I didn't feed him enough caffeine, apparently. So he has to type faster. Yes.
I'm asking the same question again.
That's all right.
Sure. So right now, I wanted to enable my faculty to see the reference documents.
Correct.
If I click on, if I go down, I scroll down to departmental assessment recommendation, and I say start faculty review, it pops up a little blurb saying, please make sure the candidate has signed the form before you continue. If I choose to notify faculty at that point, is it gonna let me do it? I want to say notify faculty.
Yeah.
We still have some formatting issues, but the content is fine, and my department head would like to have, because we have 6.
If you turn the DVF review on, it's on.
It's on. So this is not like, you didn't do this, you can't go. So
I'm
I
pretty
go-
sure it will let you go through for that very
Okay, so
reason.
then in my message,
Yeah.
I can make a note
Yeah.
that the candidate has not signed this, I'm uploading it for content.
We obviously prefer that people wait, but we're not preventing that.
Yeah, he's a little concerned because we have so many. So
But-
I will be able to do that.
But like I said, you could also use a custom group as another way around that as
But
well.
that's 2 weeks.
Sure,
Okay. Thank you.
no problem. Any other questions? Any other gee whiz? Gee whiz, I wish we had. Just because they're interesting. Yes.
These files that are being uploaded, or they have to be Word or PDF? Or it's-
PDF.
All
Has to
PDFs.
be
PDF. Everything's PDF, and when the process is over, we make sure that all the final documents are uploaded to the campus's on-base system. So basically, they become part of the official record. We take care of that for you. But as always, when we get to the point before we switch to the next cycle, we're going to send out reminders telling you if you guys want copies, download them. We will make that a little easier, however, this time around.
Did you extend the period, like if my faculty get approved with everything and it comes up for the deans?
The time period from start of signature to the very last signature has been extended because some people took a really long time to sign, and it was longer than we thought. So it's now like 18
1,000
months or
days or
something.
something,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you're not going to have that problem again. That's been solved. That's a good point. Are there any bugs that people ran into that I want to make sure that we can say yes, we squashed that? That would be one of them. No? Okay, sorry, another question.
So when this year's reappointment, promotion, and tenure wraps up, and we are getting into the post-tenure review.
Uh-huh.
And we want to start uploading documents. Our documents have different names. Like,
Sure. Well, let me start by saying we have not written any of the post-tenure review stuff yet. However, in 2 weeks after he goes live, and probably takes, I don't know, a day off. I might give him that much. He then has to start writing the interfaces for the post-tenure stuff. The hope is that when most departments are finishing up their RPT stuff, the December timeframe, early January at the latest. By then, they're generally sending it to the college and they're done. It's our understanding that around that time period is when they start gearing into post-tenure review, or at least when they're supposed to be doing it, if they'd actually been doing it, because some folks, so that is our time frame that we're shooting for. Desperately typing fast to try and get you something for that time frame. So when January hits, we hope to have another one of these go, hey, guess what? We've got this. But since we haven't even started, I'm not going to, totally commit to that yet.
Will it be its own, its own system?
Nope. This will be where you're going to go to for this system, for SMEs. Yeah, we're going to have,
We're still figuring that part out,
Yeah.
but they might all be in one list. We don't want to get it buried, so like most people only have a few on the screen anyway of reviews, except for department liaisons, but the colleges have a lot.
Yeah. One of the thoughts right now is that the post-tenure review and the review, too many of them. There's no reason why technically they couldn't both be called reviews. So you click the review tab and here are my RPT candidates. Here are my PTR candidates. Here's potentially SMEs that need signing. We're not sure yet how we're going to have it. But yes, it will all be in here. How exactly it's laid out or merged, we haven't quite decided that yet. But this will be the one-stop shop for all three of those processes. It will also mean that because we're doing SMEs in here, your faculty are going to become a lot more familiar with this. If you've not been using it for that, they're going to be logging into this system to do their SME paperwork yearly. Or not yearly, how the cycle works.
If you're going to do all this, you might want to make it one-stop shopping where you actually have the regulations associated with each step, rather than making it go to the provost and download and onboard. Yes. That sort of things.
Yeah, some of it is we don't want to duplicate, but if there are sections in the system where you say, gee, it would be really nice if there was a really bright box that had a link to the actual regulation, and it would be great to go right here, send us that email. We've been dealing with this system now for a decade, not always at this level, but at the college level and the department, and it gets to the point where we've seen it over and over again, that sometimes the very obvious, gee, if you just put a link here, it would make life so much simpler, goes over our heads. So send us an email, send us that request. Specifically, I would like to have a link to this page, viewable to whatever, and that's an easy add-on, and we like it when we can do that and save people time. Yes?
Since I'm at the college level.
Yes.
And have such a large volume, I'm sure like anybody else does, I would really like for it to be a header. Reviews, I know it's promotion and tenure. Then you've got another tab that says post-tenure review, and then you've got your SMEs. So I can just click on that and then I know they're all post-tenure.
Yeah, we're actually, we suspect that the views will be slightly different. At the department level, you only have a few. But we know the other extreme is at the provost level, they've got 150. And so for them, there's a slightly different view. We know that if we try to rapidly increase the college liaisons list, that would be problematic. So we may have special tabs, or we'll come up with something. We will actually be working with a few college level liaisons as well as the provost office for any of these new features to make sure that as we add them in, that makes sense, that it scales. And when it doesn't, send us an angry email and we'll fix it. Yes?
This year, our department just has some candidates for promotion to professor.
Mm-hmm.
So does the system automatically restrict the access, or do we have to create a separate group where only the full professors can see?
We take care of that. Right now in the current system, when you enter in your faculty, you're choosing are they associate or full DVF. So put them in correctly for that, it takes care of it. In 2 weeks, we'll have those groups being automatically created based upon their ranks. Either way, yes, we make sure that only the full DVF see the full professors.
As long as it's in, as long as they're listed.
As long as they're in the system with the correct rank or role.
Professor.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yes.
Do the candidates ever get to see the external review letters?
No.
That's blocked.
When the candidate sees it's his dossier and they go in to review it, that section is actually replaced with a standard form letter that the provost office gave us that basically says, "Nyeh, sorry, you don't get to see this unless there are particular regulations that you can
see
go
the
and
list.
request."
They can see the list though.
Sorry, they can see the list of their reviewers, but
Not
they
the
don't get to
letters.
see the actual, yeah. And part of that regulation, the form letter, does specify that they can go and request access, but we're not giving them access through the system.
And when would they be able to see the list of reviewers?
That'll be when they get sent
Anytime
the,
they log in, they can see the
Yeah.
list of reviewers.
I don't think they're supposed to see
They can.
Yeah.
They just can't see the letters. So there was a big debate over that.
yeah,
But,
that came up this last year. A few
Yeah.
department heads said, no, that's not allowed, and the provost always said, actually, yes, it is. So, yeah.
It's just a list of names. There's
that.
no.
I thought that had to be a part of that request to the department.
No, it turns out that's not the case.
But it's not like that's afterward. I mean, that wouldn't have, the list of names could be there before the letter was there.
Yeah. The list of names you can create at any time. That's usually the first thing that people do create.
Yeah. Honestly, we've got people that went in a month ago or two and we've already filled in their external evals. The moment they were decided on, why store that information anywhere else, just type it in the system. And then when you get to the point where you've got the letter, you just add the letter in or add the bio in. But yeah, people can add that information in as soon as they like.
So I can add the external reviews at any time now?
Yeah. The moment we switched to the new cycle, you had the ability to do, well, the moment we switched to the new cycle and uploaded your candidates, you had that option.
I was going to wait till you.
The candidates have
Candidates
to
are
be
uploaded.
present in the system, but they're already in there.
They're all in there now.
Yeah, I saw the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Names in there, I can upload.
once
Yeah,
the
you
name's
can
in there,
click
you've
on
got
it.
access to start uploading. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything we didn't cover? Since unfortunately, as I said, we do this so many times, I forgot some obvious stuff like you can only upload PDFs. No?
For your upcoming post-tenure review section, you might just be able to name your own section here and upload whatever you want. Title this the SME and then upload the SME. Don't upload the SME because I know there's such a flexibility between departments and colleges and across the campus.
Yeah, there are new regulations that they're working on for both of those that we're going to be building the system to match. I think they're trying to formalize things a bit more than it has been in the past. But we're working with the provost office on figuring all that out. All right, thank you.